You're listening to Build Up, a ZGM podcast. I'm Salina.
And I'm Jordan. And we're here to shake up the world of home builder marketing.
Jordan.
Salina.
It's our last episode of season 3.
Last episode, season 3. How exciting.
Can you believe it?
I love it.
I know, me too. Shelby, thank you for being here and doing all the amazing things that you do for us.
Thank you guys for being such great hosts. It's been so fun.
You definitely make us better. We wouldn't sound anything like we do if it wasn't for you.
The secrets of editing.
Yeah.
We talked about brand this season. That was season 3 was all about brand.
It was so good.
We talked about a lot of things. We started out with Dan and we talked about brand 101 and all the basics and purpose and positioning. And then we talked about AI and how
that was so good.
It was such a good conversation.
And just like the tip of the iceberg.
And just the tip of the iceberg. More to come, season 4, AI. We talked about brand collaborations. We talked about
customer experience.
Absolutely. Social. Content.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah. And then the episode before this one, the visuals and the written side of it all.
Yeah, a little creative perspective.
Yeah, we covered a lot. I think starting this final episode off and talking about brand and talking about it all, we always finish an episode and we do our takeaways. So let's finish the season with our takeaways. So all 3 of us, Shelby, you're going to get included in this as well. Biggest takeaway from the season. What did you love?
Oh, there's so many things. I loved so much. Honestly, it was like a treat to talk about brand all season. And it was like so good. And we could probably do 10 seasons about it, but we probably won't because, But anyways, for me, the biggest takeaway and I think the biggest learning that I really want home builders to stick with and dedicate time towards is social and social channels. Just from data we see and just, millennials and Gen Z and probably Gen Alpha we'll see, but, they spend a lot of time on social. And I know that people are using websites, but not in the same capacity. When you're searching for a brand or you hear about something, often you go to social first. People use TikTok as a search engine. People are using same thing with Reels and Meta. So making sure that your social channel is like a microsite is really, really important. It's important from an organic perspective, the building community, which is huge. Brand and community connect together. And if you're building a brand, you need to be building community around your brand. And that's how you build brand loyalty. But also from like a paid perspective too, if you're running digital ads on social channels and then somebody sees an ad and is learning about you, but then they go to your organic channel and it's like there's nothing there, or they're not getting enough, they might feel like, what is this? They don't care about their channel. And that might actually disrupt them from going to your website. So investing in that space, sometimes we think we don't have time to do it, but we have to make the time to do it. And it should be something we're doing. And part of every campaign strategy is your owned channels, and social is a huge, huge part of that, especially with buyers in the future. And I get so excited about the home building space here because it's content rich. Holy, there's so much you could do. And sometimes I think it's an afterthought. And I think it should be a first thought now.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We've talked about this with so many home builders where there's such a rich opportunity with all of the decisions that go into the construction of a home. And I'm not talking about on a customer basis. I'm talking about on the company level.
Yeah.
So, why are you building that house? Why did you decide this? There's so many design and construction decisions that go in. Why aren't you chronicling that? Why aren't you putting that in your content? That's so interesting. People want to know why.
Exactly. And then they'll trust you more too.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing your process. And it kind of honestly, I feel like it connects to every episode. But even with that final episode with Ryan and Scott, when Scott's saying your brand, that personality, who is your brand? I want to connect with it.
Yeah.
This is the space where you could actually have your brand personality and make it feel like, hey, that's cool. That's X builder. They have a cool vibe. I connect with them and, oh, look what they're doing. Oh, they, shared this helpful information, or, ooh, that's innovative, or a market trend. There's so many things you could do. And it's just, this is your space to do it.
Yeah.
Let your brand live and sing and breathe in these owned channels and create something special and that community.
Yeah. I was talking to a builder just the other day and they only have 8 floor plans. And when they create a new floor plan, they build the house and then their whole team walks through the house and they mark changes and they mark errors in flow, in design, and then they renovate the house.
Wow.
And then they finalize it, and then they sell it, and then it becomes a plan. Like that needs to be a movie.
I was
Like,
gonna say, that's like a HGTV show.
yeah, like I want a whole series on this.
That's awesome. Ooh, the drama.
I know, so cool.
I love it.
I want to go through the walkthrough. I want to hear what they're saying and like, oh, well, like that wouldn't be good because, you know, so-and-so is going to come home with groceries and like, where are they going to put them? Or like this door opens the wrong way or like, I want to know all of it.
Oh no, here comes Jordan with his picky blah, blah, blah. I love it. I could already see it. It sounds so good.
Yeah, I could do a whole fun like reality TV.
Honestly, I love it. It's so good. See?
Yeah, rip the house apart.
Mm-hmm. And like also like not your just traditional, I know I'm saying like meta or like social of like Instagram, TikTok, but like YouTube.
Yeah.
Too. Like those spaces, you are in control in these spaces. Take advantage of it.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby, your takeaway?
Oh, my biggest one definitely came from our last episode with Scott and Ryan. I just really resonated as a creative and as a content marketer with like just what he had to say about how your brand purpose is your heart and your brand pillars are the head and then your expression is the clothes that you wear. Because it's just such a good way to break it down just for people who maybe don't have that marketing mindset of just, oh, well, like to always remember the why of like, why are you doing this? And like, what fuels your fire and your passion for your company and your business and your brand. So I really felt like that was such a good way to distill it all down. And then especially like just talking about, your brand expression as your clothes was just such a fun way because sometimes you need a little update to your wardrobe, right? So why not update your brand every once in a while too?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was such a good and simplistic way to like visualize it and conceptualize it. Because like the concepts of purpose positioning and brand and identity, like for a lot of people who, you know, this maybe isn't their space, brand is just like, oh, it's the logo, it's the colors, it's whatever. And that's like such a small part of it. You know, trying to then have that conversation with people, it's easy for them to be like, oh yeah, heart, mind, clothes, like it just, that really seems to fit. And I wrote a blog a while ago on brand and talked about it being like a child. And I think very similarly to brand and to children, you don't always get to decide who their friends are going to be. You don't always get to, you know, you give them the best you can. But I think in the world, brands also go out and they take on their own existence. And sometimes that's very positive. Most of the time it's very positive. Sometimes it can be negative. But like one of the best examples of this was Gap. When Gap changed their logo, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago now, or tried to change their logo. And then their fans were just like, absolutely not.
Dare you.
Like, okay, bring it back to the box. But it was just such a disconnect between like internally how they view the brand and then externally how their audience views their brand. And I think that, you know, understanding that is so important.
Yeah. I love that. That's a good example because it's like, how dare you? I love that brand. That brand meant something to me.
Well, and like their brand is very much about those classic essentials. Yeah. Like how you would think that taking the logo and modernizing the logo to something like new and fresh. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me. And obviously didn't to their audience either because they're like, what are you doing? You're the brand of classic essentials. So be classic, be essential. Keep your logo.
Yeah. And live it.
Live it.
Live it and connect to me again because you lost the connection. I used to shop at Gap. I used to love it. Yeah. But then something happened and you're like, oh, I can't. It's not doing the same thing.
Yeah. It was very much like, classic essentials. Yeah. And you would go there for those things.
Good quality.
Good quality. And
cool style, but still not too trendy. But you felt good in it. So yeah. I love connecting back to fashion. You know me.
It's easy.
It's the best.
Everybody knows it too. Something you can reference that are like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I get it.
You get it because it's emotional, right? Yep. How you dress and your clothes is emotional. That's why I loved Scott's example too, Shelby, about your clothes because it is truly like sometimes like when you put on something that you feel so good in and like connects with your personality, like your day changes. Or like if you're in something and you're like, why did I buy this? And like you're uncomfortable, right? For like the rest of the day. So that's such a good example. Yeah. All right, Jordan.
My takeaway from the season, it absolutely comes from the AI episode with Tim. I think that, you know, personally myself with work I'm doing, as well as, you know, I think most people at the agency, like we're messing with AI all the time. And if you're not, like you are behind, like get into it. And even if it's like, I don't know, being able to pull too much from it right now, like you should still be just playing around and finding that thing. The two things for me, like use it to shave off so much time from your content creation.
Yeah.
Like first draft, just type in article, blog posts about this with these tones and these facts and figures, blah, blah, blah. You have a first draft in like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. And then you can edit and pare back and like add your own stuff and finesse. And like you could have a whole 1,500 word blog article in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, do it. Why aren't you doing it? And then the other thing that I've just sort of recently been playing a lot with is from an audience side of things, like doing audience research through it, but then also just sort of giving it that audience identification. So basically you tell the AI, you are this, like you are this buyer persona. Here's everything that whatever, and then ask it questions.
Yeah.
And how it like is that person, and like it's almost like free audience research. Like you don't need to go out and poll your audience and be like, hey, like is this important to you? Just plug it into AI and be like, hey, is this important to you? And it's going to be like, yes, no, whatever. Like
and challenge it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like just as a starting point, there's so much rich opportunity there. Or like ask it questions of like, what do you need? What would you want in this scenario? And then it comes back and it's like, oh, I would want X, Y, and Z steps. Like, oh, it's just such a good, rich opportunity to get into the mind of your consumer.
Yeah. I love that episode too. And exactly, this is your opportunity to like really play around in that space, make mistakes, who cares? It's free, basically. But I loved that episode where Tim was saying, like to train your team too. Like what a cool way to use AI for like training and like building out those documents that feel so tedious, maybe like those, like, I don't know, like steps to do something.
Yeah.
Like so nice.
Great takeaways. Yeah. I also wanted to wrap up season 3. We talked about it at the beginning of the season and I didn't really pick it up through the latter half of the season, but my word for this season at the beginning was connections. And I think being able to connect to your audience is so important. Also why I think that like AI customer persona questioning idea is so cool. Use that to be able to connect with your audience. Very cool. But I also, so I want to like kind of wrap up season 3 on that note, but then also kind of in line with what Shelby was talking about in her takeaway, which was, purpose, positioning, brand identity, the clothing, the heart, the mind. Also simplifying what brand means, internally to people who don't love brand as much as we do. And, we're working with Dan a lot about this recently and sort of the idea of brand essence, and really diving into kind of that like singular thought. So it's from your positioning, it's from your purpose, it's from everything. And just this sort of easy and identifiable way to be single-minded and focused. Yeah, sort of the thread that you can pull through everything that you do, and just make it so simple. So some examples to make this practical: Walt Disney, magic. Like that just sort of fits. That one word is so easily identifiably with everything that Walt Disney does. Magic. Other example: De Beers, love him or hate him, forever. Like their whole brand identity and the whole product category they created over nothing, essentially, is all about forever. And it fits with them really well. Volvo, safety. Yeah. You think Volvo, you think safety. Coca-Cola, happiness. Cineplex is all about the escape. How do you enhance the escape? Like this is, just a really simple way to ingrain all of the smart thinking behind purpose, positioning, brand values, everything, and allow that to pull through everything that you do, whether it's your social, whether it's your brand experience or your content or your visuals. Like all of those things come after, and all of those things should come as outputs of your brand, positioning your purpose and simplified essence
I like that.
of just what you are.
Because when your whole team, it's an easy way for your team to make a decision. Like, oh, we're gonna build this floor plan. Wait, is it
Magic.
Yeah, is it magic? I love that word. So yeah, we'll use that as our
we talk
example.
about dosing. We like dosing.
Yeah, is it magic? Like easy, that will help you determine yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay, our ads or concepts for a creative campaign, but is it magic?
Yeah.
And if it's not, easy, yes, no. Like it's so easy.
100%.
We love our purpose and our positioning, and that's really important, and then that's defining and leading us in everything we do. But sometimes you need that one quick thing that your whole team can action on. Your sales team is just process magic. Okay, make it magic. What can you do? Like empower your whole team to use that word, that brand essence.
I think about the last builder that we did branding for, and they've got different brands, but like it fits for them, like people, design, like
it's
that's
so good. The thread is so good in that one. And I love it so much. And they're just getting started, which is even better.
Yeah, that's cool. Lots to come.
So I would really love to get like a personal experience of brand from both of you, and like a takeaway from something that maybe recently happened or something that stuck with you. Almost like our quick rapid fire kind of questions we do at the beginning of each season, but something that connects back. And that like our home builder audience or anybody could, take it as food for thought.
I have a fun one. I love to travel, as you know. And so last year we went to London and we stayed at the Belmont in London. It's a hotel chain. And surprise to me, we ended up getting engaged at the Belmont in London. And everybody at the whole hotel was just like, thrilled. Like it's a small hotel, it's like 50 rooms. But the customer service was just like next level. Like everything they did was like out of control, next level. So then just a few months ago, we traveled to South Africa and like we're going to stay at the Belmont in Cape Town. And I was going into it, I was just like, like this is going to be a little bit of a letdown because obviously they can't match the energy of the engagement. Like that, it's just they can't, right? They didn't, but like they actually came so close.
Yeah.
Like the level of customer service and consistency and being able to connect with us. Like we checked in at like 10 o'clock at night. Like it was late. And like the energy from the staff and the team, they were like, you need champagne. Here, we have these beautiful beaded bracelets that are like a gift. And just like so excited and over the top and thrilled. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And then like through the whole stay, like before we left, they came and they gifted us these little like tote bags. They had our initials embroidered on them.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah. And
personal touch.
The personal touches are just like through the roof. And I'm just like, this is wild. Like I thought this was going to be good, but didn't ever think it was going to be anything like the engagement experience. And it ended up being still phenomenal. And like the ability for them to connect and to engage and have that. Two completely different cities, London and Cape Town are not on a similar level, but this brand delivered on both of them. The consistency in the staff, the consistency in the product, the consistency in the experience was second to none. Like I'm now like, I only ever want to stay at Belmont. Like it just was so good. And that consistency is super important. And it's a lot of times consistency that will get you brand loyalty.
Exactly.
And that is what they got here. Like I will forever be a Belmont customer because their consistency and their experience unmatched.
That was a good one, Jordan. I like that.
Thanks.
Shelby?
Yes, I did think of one. So I'm like a big gamer in my spare time. It's like what I spend a lot of my time doing. And I just kind of was like, oh, well, of course, one of my favorite brands of all time is Nintendo. So as a gamer, and if there's any gamers listening, there's always like a lot of brand loyalty towards like a particular game company. And so it could be like your Microsofts or PlayStation or Nintendo. And for me, I've been just a lifelong Nintendo fan. Even from being like 5 years old and playing like my dad's Game Boy and stuff like that has always just been like a constant in my life. I know they always say, oh, well, if you're marketing for everybody, you're marketing for nobody. But I don't know how Nintendo does it, but they just captivate their audience from being young to being older. Even now in my 30s, like I love playing Nintendo games still. Like I just pre-ordered the latest Princess Peach game that came out and I was so excited to go pick it up. And as I'm playing it, like it's very clearly meant for a younger audience, but I'm still just loving the experience. She's been with me since I was a kid and now she has like her own game, which is awesome. And like playing Pokemon games with my nephews. They live quite a ways away from me, but we're able to bond over Pokemon. Nintendo's just such a cool brand. They just bring everybody together no matter your age range and what you like. And there's a little something for everybody. They just always make me feel so happy.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's a great example too of a brand that has been around for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
But also it's just like they're true to themselves.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
They are
so true to themselves. And the fact that they're still like releasing Princess Peach games, like
yep. There's always new stuff coming. There's so many different like brands within a brand. So it's like you can get really down like the rabbit hole of like, oh, are you like a Mario person? Are you like a Legend of Zelda person? Pokemon? Like there's just so many IPs that they have under their own brand that have their own massive fandoms from there. And it's such a cool experience.
Yeah, I think for me with Nintendo, it's more about, I think, the storytelling and the engagement with Nintendo. Yeah. Like with PlayStation, Xbox, that's more about like what kind of like how cool can we make the graphics? How realistic can we make it? How like immersive can we make that side of things? How much more, hard drive space and speed and blah blah blah.
Yeah, right. Like your like 100 gig Final Fantasy download.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
Nintendo's like we don't even play in that space. Like they're like we have our own category. It's just about like our own storytelling and IPs that are just rich, so rich in their content and depth, and that's what we do.
So good. And you're our Princess Peach, Shelby. Before you even told me the game, I was like, you're totally Princess Peach.
Yes, I do love her.
I loved the movie. Like I was a big Nintendo fan. Like when I was, because my brother played it and then I played it too, which was nice. It was like he's older than me. He's like 8 years older than me, but it was something that we like connected together. Like I was the annoying little sister, but like he let me, hang out and play. And I loved Princess Peach too. So when that movie came out, like we all went. Like
I love that.
We all went,
That's so good.
So good. Yeah, no, it's a really good brand that stayed true to who they are. And again, it's consistency, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
I have one. I love like experiences and I love brands. And I think I'm like a big consumer. Like I'm such like a consumer. Like obviously I'm a marketer and branding person, but I'm a huge consumer. So
same though.
And I'm always like there with a critical eye, but also having fun at events and stuff. But something I recently went to when I was in Arizona, I'm a big Nordstrom fan. I just love the brand and I love their shopping experience and just customer experience as a whole. But I was invited to one of their like kind of like a VIP beauty event. And I was like, okay, cool. Now, backstory, I love Sephora. And that's where I usually do all of my like skincare and like beauty shopping, and I'm a Sephora VIB. No, Rouge, not even VIB. I'm like Rouge level.
VIB?
VIB is very important beauty.
Okay.
But it's like their loyalty club for Sephora. But I am the highest one. I am Rouge. So I shop there quite a bit. And part of being in like that category, they used to do these like amazing curated events like you'd get invites to, and they were like top notch with different brand ambassadors, and it was so cool.
Okay.
And over the years, and this could have been like a post-COVID thing too,
right?
I haven't been seeing them or been invited to them, and I'm still in that tier level, but they kind of disappeared.
They stopped inviting you.
They hate me. No, just kidding. I love you, Sephora. No, come back. But I miss them, like those kind of events, because they really got you connected and you felt like you were part of something. You're part of something like beautiful. That's kind of something they always say. So when I was at Nordstrom, and Nordstrom, they have, of course, a beauty department and like skin wellness and all those like really like lovely brands there. But I never really saw them as a place that I would go buy beauty from. Like I'd always go to Sephora. Anyways, they had this event. It was incredible. It was like a fashion show, spring beauty event, like for just makeup, but it was like a runway experience. You got to go early. They had food set up. They had drinks. They had like everything was branded. I took pictures of everything. I should like post about it because it was so cool. Yeah. It was so thoughtful and you felt so important. And like all the different brand ambassadors were there giving you like samples and prizes. And then this was before Nordstrom opened. So you had the store to yourself. So all the people that were at this event got like this private experience. And then after the big runway and like trends breakdown and food and drinks, you got a tote. It was like so cute. I brought it with me. And then you also got to like go down to the beauty space and like interact with all of the brand ambassadors who flew in special for this. Like there was people from New York that were there. And I was like, holy, like you're going to get some loyalty from this now. Because for me, as like a big Sephora shopper, I was like, do I want to come to Nordstrom now and like get all like my skincare and beauty needs? I feel like they care about me like a lot to do this. So it was really interesting. And I was like, wow, what an investment, and holy, how it could change your mind of like where you're going and who you're shopping with. So for me, it's like that for a home builder, like it's important. You got to focus on the details and making somebody feel special.
I love that you bring that up in that story. So events are very important in the home building world. We all, community events, new show home events, we've all been there, we've all done that. But they also just like don't typically have any, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't typically have any substance to them.
Yeah.
Like it typically is just like get a bouncy castle and a face painter and have some hot dogs.
Level.
And it's like, we just started working with a big developer and they were like, oh, like Mother's Day is coming up. Like we should do a Mother's Day event. I'm just like, why? And they're like, well, because it's Mother's Day and we do events. It's like,
wait.
No, absolutely not. It's like we're changing the whole event strategy for you moving forward. And it's all going to be tied to your brand essence, your brand purpose. Like we're going to dive deep into who you are. And this is going to guide your event strategy. You're going to do things that set you apart and reinforce who you are, and not just do a Mother's Day event because it's Mother's Day.
We love our moms.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah, we want to do it with a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're buying your mom a new home, like maybe don't go to like Mother's Day home builder event.
Yeah. Jordan, you're like spot on. And like that's the space I'm into where it's like, like those events are great. And I think they bring the community together, but for like a home builder, like do an event that connects to you and make your either people who are currently like maybe warm leads, invite them to something special, or previous buyers. Why are you not having like this is what's new this year, a trend event, if that fits in with who you are as a builder? Absolutely. Something really exclusive, make them feel like they're part of something cool, getting the inside scoop, or like bringing in like a safety person to talk about how to take care of your home. Like those kind of events that really like add value to somebody, that make them be like, okay, wait, but if I don't buy with this home builder in the future, like I'm not going to get this feeling and this like special care. And then they tell their friends, right? Yeah. Just like me. I tell my friends.
Well, and we've talked about this lots. Like we worked at the builder who was all about having the best designed homes. And we're like, you need to do like a fashion show-esque launch of new designs. Yeah. Like, and make it a big event, make it cool, invite influencers, like make it this big release thing. Like that should be your event. There's just like, there's so much more potential than just like, like an event for event's sake, and events bring people out. And it's like, yes, those things are true. Yeah. But the better events, Salina's Nordstrom example of an event, like, Nordstrom could have just been like, like we're going to open early and we'll have food and drinks and you can come look at like some products. But like they made it engaging.
It was so engaging.
They went above and beyond.
They really did. Like everything was so curated. Honestly, like the little like breakfast food with like the branding on it, the cocktail napkins with the branding on it. Like those are the things where I'm like, wow, they didn't have to do that. They could have got plain napkins, but they didn't. And it's those details that make me feel like they care. Yeah. So to me, that's a huge, huge lesson, is like you need to focus on the details, because for a home and like that home experience and like that customer experience, because the smallest detail will make a home buyer feel comfortable in making the biggest purchase of their life. Yeah. So that's kind of my little new thing that I was like, holy, this like is kind of making me shift. Am I shifting from my love of Sephora? Who knows? I don't know yet.
Interesting how like well, I guess it's a combination of Sephora kind of let you down. They didn't have their
it's missing.
consistency.
I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And experience and what you liked.
Mhm.
Not really understanding you as a customer.
Mhm.
Whether they did that intentionally to go a different direction or not, but it lost or is maybe losing you. And then the opportunity then for someone else to pick up.
Like how smart of Nordstrom to notice. And I'm like, I wonder if they did that because there's a little bit of a trend with Sephora of, is it going too young of an audience? Like, is it going a little bit too much down towards like under 30, maybe even younger, like 20 and under, which is interesting space. I'm sure everybody's heard about that, like really young buyer that's going into Sephora.
Well, there's even like the Sephora kids that are like 10 years old, like the preteens. It's wild.
Seen it like in person. So when I'm in a space like that, not that I have a niece, she's 9. I love shopping with her and like it's fine. But if I'm not getting the attention and I'm spending a lot of my like money there and they're not paying attention to me anymore and I'm seeing this and hearing this, Nordstrom might have.
Right.
And took advantage of the opportunity to be like, these are big spenders, this over 30 group, especially on skincare and like skin wellness, like capitalize on this opportunity so that they know. That's in my head, the strategy that happened. Who knows? But if Nordstrom wants to validate, I would love to know.
We'll have you on the show.
Yes, that was awesome. So much fun.
Yeah, such a great season. I love that, we were deep into brand. I hope everybody was able to take away something from brand and from our guests and different points this year. And who knows what we're going to do for season 4.
I have a little bit of an idea, but I'll keep it a secret for now.
Okay, we got to get started on planning season 4.
I already did, but it's a secret. No, just kidding. I'll show it to you right now.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Shelby. You're the best.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And thanks to our guests. You're also lovely. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
This has been Build Up, a ZGM podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe on your favorite listening app. Thanks to Shelby, our editor and producer, Scott for our original music, and you for listening along. Be sure to follow us on your favorite social platform at Build Up Podcast.